unbelievable, frankly. But the fact is that they're getting away with it. That's why they're doing it. If they couldn't get away with it, if they couldn't get people here, then frankly, it wouldn't happen. And not only is it happening, but once they get here, if they're not being moved on anywhere else, if they're not being sent back, then what on earth is going to persuade the smugglers in particular that they're not going to be able to make money out of this? And what sort of persecution are they exactly running away from in Albania? I mean, we keep hearing that this is all about the human rights of the individuals and they've fled this and they've fled that. They haven't, for goodness sake. Not only have they fled from somewhere where there is no persecution in the way that we recognise it with regard to refugees, but they go through safe countries to get to the shore to come over this country. And our potential prime minister, whichever one of them it's going to be, is saying absolutely nothing about it, beyond spouting the usual claptrap about we must pull out of the ECHR, which
they're not saying. But they're not saying that. They're not saying
they're qualifying it. You're
right.
I mean, you're right.
I think actually, to be fair, Suella Braverman very clearly at the start of this contest was saying that. I think the rest of them, including Kemi Badenoch was strongish on it, but then not so strong. And these are sort of hinting privately, we might have to look at this in the future. But there's no indication they're going to do that. There's no indication that they're going to take on much of what we're signed up to at the United Nations, which, while it may not have force of law, is used by judges
absolutely.
In judgments.
Absolutely.
I don't see this changing at all.
No, look, two things, Nigel. First of all, I've heard from the Home Office today that maybe Rwanda is actually having an effect, that there are fewer people coming over than we expected. Absolute tosh. We're still going to get, even at the present rate, something like 50 to 55,000. Is that really a small number, something to celebrate?
Quite.
Even if we get to the stage, which will be several years down the road, frankly, of withdrawing from the ECHR, it won't make the blindest bit of difference so long as once people get here or get to our 12-mile limit, at that point, they're taken in and they go nowhere other than to central London to celebrate their arrival. Once, really, we start showing business that we mean what we say, that you're not going to be allowed to stay, at that point, there may be some impact. Otherwise, all of it is just talk.
What are our politicians scared of?
I think what they're scared of is failure. I mean, they're failing anyway. But what they don't want to do is make promises, make commitments that ultimately they'll be judged on. But that's politics. That's what politics is all about. If you want to be re-elected, frankly, you make a promise, you keep it, it works, and then you say to the people, look what I've done, vote for me again. At the moment, really, there's nothing, absolutely nothing that any of them, frankly, on either side, can point to and say, look what we've done.
No. And the sheer brazenness of what's appearing there on TikTok. You know, phone numbers, UK mobile phone numbers, summer sales. It's unbelievable.
It's Mickey taking in the extreme, frankly. We've got people who are effectively sticking two fingers up. It's not
absolutely
V for victory. It's V, you know what.
I do. Alp Mehmet, thank you for joining us.